game call at this point, guys, because we'll probably be sharing that clip on social media, I imagine. Handoff to Jordan James, runs up the gut, gets the first down for the 49ers, but we are down to within 40 seconds remaining. Will they snap the ball once more? No, the 49ers are clearing off the bench on the far side. The Seahawks on this side as Lumen Field erupts in celebration. This game ties the Seahawks' largest ever post-season victory as Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDonald meet in a moment of real camaraderie at midfield. True respect shown. The Seahawks' largest win over the San Francisco 49ers in 20 years. The 49ers' worst postseason defeat since 1986, and it was all about the Seahawks' brilliant run game, the hat trick of touchdowns from Kenneth Walker, and this unbelievable defense, absolutely schemed up by Mike McDonald, who was brought into this division to go and beat Kyle Shanahan, to go and beat Sean McVay, and the brilliant Brit Adam Durdy, who's done so well coaching them up all year. 3 forced fumbles, 2 fumbles recovered, 3 turnovers on downs, the Purdy interception, Ernest Jones had a forced fumble and interception, DeMarcus Lawrence 2 forced fumbles including the sack which was the turnover, Leonard Williams with a huge sack. They had 6 pass breakups from 6 different players tonight. They held the 49ers 2 weeks ago to 3 points, the lowest mark in the Kyle Shanahan era. This week they double that score to 6 points. The Seahawks dominated Lumen Field and they are on to the NFC Championship game, and for me right now, based on that performance and what we saw 2 weeks ago, I think they're favourites for the Super Bowl.
I think they're favourites too because of, well, in this game they dominate from the first play to the last. First play they return it for a touchdown. Last play, I mean, stopping this offense, right, the backups, but I say like Seattle dominated completely this game. They destroy this offense. They didn't have a chance to compete. No timing, no spaces. This is I haven't seen. This is the first time I saw this defense live, and they were completely dominated.
I mean, I'll make a prediction for you.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've seen this defense live in 3 weeks. I fully expect to see this defense live again in Santa Clara when we're there to call Super Bowl 60 alongside Ross Tucker, alongside Greg Rosenthal, alongside the brilliant Will Varney, because that was just sensational. I thought when I watched the game from my sofa with a good buddy of mine who's a Seahawks fan and a few other friends, and I watched that game 2 weeks ago, it's not hidden in any way, shape or form that I am a 49ers fan. I love good football and I love watching the Seahawks team play. But I watched that game and I just thought to myself, this defense, every time you get a pass off, every time someone makes a reception, they just close the ball down. They hit you immediately. They are to it every time. They read everything you're doing. Do you remember that Carl Juszczyk, like fake toss play to Christian McCaffrey in the first half, which was classic Shanahan, which was classic first down pickup, and the Seahawks just read them like a book and said absolutely not, shutting that down. They look unstoppable on that side of the ball, and even the Rams, who I think were my favourite going into the season for the Super Bowl, alongside the Packers. They were the team who I said if Stafford's back holds up, I like them to go all the way. I think they're the most complete team in the NFL. But this defense is so good, that unit is so good, that I think that's going to make the difference in an NFC Championship game. Whether it's against Caleb Williams, who's been so good this postseason, so good in the last few weeks of the season, or whether it's against Matthew Stafford, who's probably going to win the MVP. I think this defense will have the beating of both of them. I really do.
It was simply outstanding. Simply outstanding performance from what we've seen today. And like you said, Alfredo, it gives you moment for thought of how good they were. I remember back in October seeing Matthew Stafford firsthand. And sometimes you see special players and they sort of take your breath away. Performance-wise, I think he had 5 touchdowns on the day. Today, this was a unit. This was a group of players. The talent level was so high, and what they've been able to do, this malleable defense that I mentioned has this phenomenal balance of veterans and youth, and there is this hunger and this desire to hunt and get the ball at every possible time. They are superb. The offense, like we mentioned in the game, they don't have to be outstanding. They don't have to be amazing. But Sam Darnold showed enough tonight to say he can put a game on his back if he needs to with that offense. There are players in there. Kenneth Walker, 3 touchdowns on the day. Jackson Smith and Jigba, probably, if not possibly, the 1-2 in the Offensive Player of the Year come NFL honors in a couple of weeks' time. This is an outstanding group, an outstanding coaching staff, an unbelievable job by the front office in creating this roster. Who on earth, at the start of this season, when they looked at Geno Smith being traded, DK Metcalf being traded, did they believe this team would canter to an NFC Championship game? An unbelievable job, and it simply has to be applauded. We've witnessed something special at Lumen Field tonight, and I second what you said, Will. This is the team to beat for me in the NFC right now, and for me, the team to beat in the Super Bowl, because they are that good.
Right, I'm going to take a moment, though, to wax lyrical about the 49ers
Yeah,
season.
let's do it.
Because as much as the Seahawks deserve the flowers right now, and they are deserving winners of this NFC West, deserving winners of this game, deserving number 1 seeds, and let's not forget, 4 times they've been number 1 seeds, 3 times they've been to the Super Bowl, and right now they're 1 game away from doing the same again. This season is Kyle Shanahan's best coaching job as the San Francisco 49ers head coach. And I say that as a guy who's taken them to 2 Super Bowls, who has taken them to multiple NFC Championship games. This is the first time he's lost a game before the NFC Championship game when he's made the playoffs. 7-0 prior to the NFC Championship game when playing in the playoffs, right? It's an unbelievable record, and that this year, Brock Purdy goes down week 1. George Kittle goes down week 1. Nick Bosa goes down week 3 with a season ender. Fred Warner goes down week 6 with what turns out to be a season ender. You're losing 3 future Hall of Famers, 2 guaranteed All-Pros this season, probably 3 as well, like Nick Bosa, probably a second-team guy. And in Brock Purdy, what you saw in the second half of the season from him when he came back in was one of the best 8-game stretches of his career so far. Up until that Seahawks game, that point, he was absolutely brilliant. The way I'm going to be positive about them and the way I'm going to spin this to you is I'm going to say that they have shown, with whether it be Upton Stout, whether it be Alfred Collins, whether it be CJ West, who made big plays again
Marquis
tonight.
Siegel last week against the Philadelphia Eagles has given you something.
Marquis Siegel, you've got a bunch of second-year guys like Malik Mustafa. Everybody is under contract in the back end of that defense. Only free agents you've really got. Juwan Jennings is probably the key one. When Juwan Jennings is your key free agent, you're hopefully going to be able to find a way to move on from Brandon Ayuk. That's going to create some cap space for you. This is absolutely a 49ers team who can win 12 games again next season, who can push the Seahawks again next season, and could be NFC champions, could be Super Bowl champions again next year. I think what these young players will have learnt this season, what they will have gone through, going through all of those hardships, all of those up and downs, fighting every single week. Trent Williams said it to us last week. They fought another week to play another week with their brothers. And I feel like the way this unit has come together, the way you experienced it this past week in Santa Clara, I think that the 49ers had a special season that came to a horribly abrupt end against a phenomenal football team, but they can absolutely bounce back and be contenders again next season.
We forget about Michael Williams when he was...
and I didn't even mention Michael Williams, who, when he was in the game, when he was playing, the run defense was tons better than it was this year, and he started to show flashes in the pass rush as well. I'm sorry, what a great shout. What a great shout.
I mean, when he was in, like Will said, we have a better defense. Imagine, having these players back, I can tell. And if they do a good free agency, we can have a better and more aggressive and completely bunch of stars in the team. And then we have a salary cap. So I can tell John Lynch right now, on the way back to Santa Clara, he will be calling a few people and preparing for the next year.
Exactly, because we spoke about Super Bowl windows, and we don't know how long they're going to last. And right now, when you have a team as talented as they are, look, there are going to be questions heading into the off-season about whether it's going to be Robert Saleh. Is he going to be handed a head coaching job? Is he going to potentially move on? Clay Kubiak has had a couple of interviews as well. When you look at the core of this roster, there are going to have to be improvements, especially on the offense. When you look at the pass catchers, whether it be Juwan Jennings, is he going to get that extension? Do you have to go out and can you find, whether it be in the draft or in free agency, is there going to be a receiver around who you can get the best out of? Of course, go ahead.
No, all I was going to say, I was going to jump in on that and say, what's really interesting is when you look at this divisional round this weekend, 8 teams, 8 head coaches, 4 of them defensive leaning, 4 of them offensive leaning. When the idea is when you're hiring a head coach in this cycle, you're looking for the offensive genius. And I have to say, when I look around the NFL, if I was hiring a coach, I'm looking for a great schematic difference-making offensive guy. That's what I want to find, because I know if I've got that guy, I've got one side of the ball covered for, like with Shanahan, like with McVay, like you felt like with LaFleur until, you know, some tough postseason losses. Like you felt with those guys, is that you've got a whole side of the ball covered consistently. And in the NFL, defenses are much more inconsistent than offenses season to season. It's much more difficult to keep a great defense back-to-back years compared to a great offense. So my lean would always be in that direction. But I think Mike Macdonald is showing that you can be a really great defensive head coach. He can have a brilliant defensive play caller in Adam Dirty. He can have great offensive, like enough offensive production on the other side. Like you said, great line, great running game. Darnold doing just enough after a brilliant first half of the season. That is a winning formula. And actually, I think it's showing the rest of the NFL you don't have to go, oh, where's the next person that's touched the hem of Sean McVay's sleeve at one point in their career? Like, you can actually go out and find yourself just a great man motivator, a great defensive guy, and build around them if they are the right person. And Mike Macdonald right now, he might be the head coach of this Seahawks team for the next 20 years and take them to multiple championships. He's been that good the first 2 years.
And the future is really bright, not only for this team moving forward, but also for San Francisco. You mentioned it's been a fantastic season for Kyle Shanahan's group, and the fact that he's been in the Coach of the Year, you know, discussions with all the adversity this team has had to deal with. But like you mentioned, Will, this is a young team, again, just continuing to grow. And from what I saw and felt in Santa Clara, around that locker room, around that building, there's just a tremendous amount of belief about the future, about who this staff is, this front office, like you mentioned, Alfredo, and the direction they're going to be moving on. Like you mentioned, John Lynch is probably going to be working the phones right now in terms of looking ahead to next season. It may be over for San Francisco, but it's just getting started for Seattle. I'll give you the final word, Alfredo, on this. Seattle right now, looking at the NFC Championship next week, and they're going to be potentially facing either Chicago or the Los Angeles Rams. Is this a team, the Seattle Seahawks, who you think are going to win the Super Bowl in 3 weeks' time?
I do. Honestly, before the game started, I thought whoever wins this game is gonna take it all and win it all. And, well, of course, what wasn't the 49ers.
One team won it, that's for sure.
That's for sure. And what I see today from Seattle Seahawks, they have everything, 3 faces. Will mentioned during the game, the special teams unit is a 3rd on the league, and the defense is one of the best, or the best. Offense across the board, the offensive lineman is one of the best. Having Kenneth Walker running the ball like he did today with that speed, I mean, I don't see a team in the NFL stopping this team, Seattle Seahawks.
Just a phenomenal stat that's just popped up, by the way, before we wrap. Kenneth Walker III, the first Seahawks player with 3 rushing touchdowns in a playoff game since Sean Alexander back in 2003, and that happened to be against the Green Bay Packers. He popped off tonight, and a player where they've really not run the ball at a consistent rate this season, but goodness me, they did it tonight. It has been an absolute pleasure being with you, Alfredo Gutierrez, over the last couple of weeks from Philadelphia last